So it's the winter season of 2021 to 2022, and I just recently gotten back into the gym. I started to get really serious about improving every aspect of my life, and it was around this time that I rediscovered journaling. It's over a year later now, and since practicing it, I can honestly say I believe it is one of, if not the most important habit to develop. You see, most of us go through life at such a fast pace that a lot of the goals that we set for ourselves, we just don't work on or just forget about, right? These goals that would take us to a better place, that would really improve our lives, don't really get worked on because we get so trapped in the day-to-day, right? Because we're moving at such a fast pace. Our mental health is not great, or it just downright sucks. You feel depressed, you have resentment, you're angry, maybe you just have like low self-esteem. And this was the exact position that I was in back in the winter of 2021, 2022. We had really just come through the whole pandemic, and I was really dealing with a lot of depression and low self-esteem. I was just in bad shape, and my mental health was suffering pretty badly. On top of all that, I was working a job that I really did not like and that didn't really fit well with my personality. And there was so much uncertainty with the pandemic that it was just really not helping things. So the way I was able to get out of this rut, honestly, was number one, to be, getting back into the gym and trying to improve other areas of my life. But a huge part of it was actually journaling. And so no matter where you are in life right now, no matter what your goals are or your dream life is, the vision that you really want to accomplish and see actually come into reality, journaling is going to help you get there a lot faster. So I mentioned earlier how I had actually rediscovered journaling, and it really was weird because I remembered that when I was a kid, I was actually journaling. And it's just through the process of being a teenager, I had forgotten about it and forgotten how to do it. So these two books right here are the journals from when I was like a kid. This one's more from around like my teenage era, like early teens, preteens. And this one is actually, this one right here, this bad boy right here is actually from '06, baby, '06. Look at this. I don't know if you can read that date. Look at that, 1706. So that shit, I was literally that was like my first entry in this journal. So that would have been maybe 7 or 8 years old or something like that. It's just crazy though, because when I look back at these journals to see what I was thinking about, to see what I was talking about, and the different thoughts I had as, a 7 or 8 year old and like a teenager, it's crazy. And that's one of the main benefits, and one of the first things I want to talk about is when you actually have journals that you keep, right, from a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago, you can look back and see how far you've come. You can look back and see the struggles and the different thoughts you had and things you used to deal with so long ago. And now, you can really see how much your life has improved. So it really gives you a sense of gratitude. It gives you a sense of gratitude. It gives you a sense of accomplishment when you have these older journals, because you've been moving through life. And maybe up to this point, you haven't really been, progressing and improving yourself in a lot of different ways, so you haven't made a ton of progress. But even still, just to have these, like these two books right here, these are some of my most valued possessions, because I can see, the thoughts of myself at 7 or 8 years old. I can see the thoughts of myself at 10 or 12 years old. And I don't have that many entries in them, but even still, that's valuable because it also allows you to see what are the things that you were naturally drawn to. What were the things that you were naturally doing at that age that you might be able to kind of tap back into now that you're an adult and really use that to your advantage. So during that winter, when I rediscovered journaling, I really realized that this is something that I need to always do and continue doing for the rest of my life. This is one of those things like going to the gym where I'm just going to keep doing it for my entire life. It's not one of those things that I'm just doing for a season to feel cool or because it's trendy. This is something I'm going to fucking do for the rest of my life, because clearly if I was doing it that young of an age and I'm actually able to see and it's had that much of an impact on me, what about when I'm 50? What about when I'm 60 or 80 years old and I can look back in my 20s and see the struggles and things I was going through? So it's really important that you understand that sort of time capsule that the journaling really gives to you as for your future self, right? And so you record the things that you're going on right now so that your future self can look back and kind of gather information about it. I want to teach you and share with you kind of how I go about journaling in my system, because I've developed a system over this past year, since I've been journaling for over a year, of a way to kind of not just journal in a sense of like, oh, this is what I did today, blah, 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 but actually a way that can help you achieve your goals faster. And potentially, if you're getting into like me, like with online business or just business in general, can help you even with your business and just every goal you have in life, it can really help. So you might be wondering, how is journaling actually going to help me get a better life? How is journaling going to change my life? How is it going to help me achieve the goals that I have? And really, it's going to help you because you're going to learn a lot about yourself. And you're going to learn what you like, what you don't like, what your tendencies are, right? You'll notice that sometimes when you're journaling, you tend to go around in circles with the same thoughts, and you start to have kind of the same questions that come up over and over again. And when that happens, it's a great way to kind of see your thought patterns and really address them so that you can move past it. On top of that, I'm going to share with you a system that is really going to help you achieve the goals that you want to achieve, okay? And thereby getting you to a point where your life is better and you're living that dream life that you want to be living. Really, this system has taken me over a year to develop, and it's definitely more of an advanced thing, but I think if you're watching this video right now that you could probably handle it. And I think it's a great place to start because you don't have to go through all the trial and error I went through. And yeah, it took me a long time to develop, and it is kind of important to me, but I'd rather just give it to you in this video so that you can make better progress than I did and you can move ahead faster than I did. All right, so basically what I like to do for this system is I like to have two separate journals. So this one right here is kind of my day-to-day. This is like my day-to-day journal that I use. And this one is more of like the, I guess you could say, special journal that I keep, which is more, it's kind of more, this is just for like day-to-day writing. And this one is for anything really important, any really big mindset shifts I have, any really important quotes I come across, any really like for my goals for the whole year, I'll write down the list in that book and kind of update it as I go along. So I kind of keep this one because it's kind of more of a special journal, and it really is a great place to kind of put really important things into, whereas this one is really just more for any thoughts that come out and just like writing in as a daily practice. So if you like the idea of doing that and having two separate journals, go with that. Otherwise, if you're just starting out and you don't want to do two journals or have, two different things that you're kind of looking after or thinking about, just go with the one journal. And I kind of like this one. This is a good one, but really, honestly, I would go with the sort of like the bigger 5-subject like college ones where it's like lined paper, because this one's nice, but the problem is the pages, they're kind of a little bit small to write in, whereas those bigger ones that are like this much bigger than the small one here, it's a lot easier to open up and lay flat and just kind of write in. So I would definitely recommend you start out with one of the 5-subject, like the big 5-subject notebooks. For me, I just use a pen. You can use really any pen. I don't really have a special pen yet. A lot of people are recommending like get a better pen, but whatever. I'll get there eventually. So essentially, I want to show you kind of how I lay this out every day and what the system is for kind of daily journaling and doing it in a way that can really help you move forward and achieve your goals. Grab your journal and the pen, and really the first thing that we're going to be doing is every single day we're going to write down our goals. Okay, so I've made a whole nother video about this, which I will link somewhere up here on one of the sides in the cards, where you can click and watch that video on how to go about a system that will help you achieve your goals faster via writing your goals down every day, affirmations and stuff like that. So after you're done watching this video, or right now, you can open that in a new tab and watch it later. But you're going to want to actually check that out, because that's going to be the sort of system that ties in well with this, that's going to help you kind of move forward faster. So the first thing you want to do is every day write down your goals. So at the top of your journal, you write down goals, and then underneath you're going to write, whatever your goals are. The important thing to note is when you're writing down these goals, it's great to write down your goals. And in this other video, I didn't actually mention it, but it's great to write down your goals, but it's important to write down how, right? It's important to write down how. What is your plan? I want to make $1 million a year. First of all, that's not even how you would word that goal. You can watch my other video about how to properly word your goals so they're more effective. But let's just say, for an easy example for this video, I want to make $1 million a year. Okay, that's great. You write that down every day. How the hell are you going to do that? What is your plan? So what I like to do is, so like just say right here, this is going to be too hard to see. I might just like put this up on screens. Yeah, I'm just going to put this up on screen in editing. So at the very top, you know, you got maybe like goals. And then underneath, you're going to write how. So you got goals, write that down. Then you say, how am I going to achieve this? You know, what's my plan? And it doesn't have to be some intricate thing. Just write down a basic plan. So basic plan, write down how. And then furthermore, you can put in why. Why do I want this goal? Because it's important to remind yourself why. It's important to remind yourself why you want this. And what is that desire? What is that motivation that's really pushing you forward to achieve this goal? And be honest with yourself. Don't try to make up some shit because it's socially acceptable. You know, don't try to come up with stuff because it's politically correct or whatever. If you have some desire that's more kind of a darker desire and it's more of like the shadow side, don't try to hide that, because you're not going to be successful. Because if you're going to hide the darker sides of yourself, you're going to hide the more ambitious sides of yourself, and you're not going to be honest about it, then it's going to be sitting there in the background kind of sabotaging you. So it's important to understand both sides of yourself, and journaling is really going to help with that. It's really going to help, you know, if as you get used to it over time, you're going to feel more comfortable coming out and talking about the thoughts that you have that might be like darker thoughts that you wouldn't really feel comfortable talking about. But this journal is kind of like one of the only places that you can really talk about them. I mean, maybe, you know, if you have a therapist or someone like that you can trust, but on a day-to-day basis, this is kind of like the best you got. So especially if you're in the position that I was in. So, you know, definitely write down how and why you plan on achieving this goal. The next stage for, you know, the next thing you can write down is typically I do that chunk in the morning. So in terms of writing your goals down and then how are you going to do it, why you're going to do it, I do that in the morning as part of my morning system, which is called the WAVE method, which is that whole video I talked about earlier that I linked up there. So that's for the morning. Now, I don't write in my journal usually, again, until the end of the day. And the reason is I like to kind of finish off the end of the day by getting all the thoughts and possible negativity and stuff out of my head and out of any like emotions I may have or feelings I may have onto paper before I go to bed. I just noticed that it works well for me, and I get better sleep doing it that way. So at the end of the day, you want to, the next stage is going to be write down what I call like your daily life story. So really you want to write down what stood out to you today. You know, what happened today. Just write a story about what happened today. It doesn't need to be long. It could be just 2 sentences, 3 sentences, right? Just write down any interesting conversations you may have had with people, any major events that happened, anything interesting that you did, even if it's not interesting, even if it was boring or mundane, still write it down, because think of it this way, you know, in the future, when you look back at this, a lot of times it's that sort of mundane, sort of everyday sort of vibe that gives us that nostalgic feeling, right? So write down, no matter what happened, just write down either things that are interesting that happened during your day, or your just average day-to-day routine. Write about how if you met any new people or any conversations that you had, and that's going to be your daily story. And the great thing about the daily story is that, again, like I said, when you look back on this, you'll be like, oh yeah, that was my average day. That's how my average day kind of was. And now it's so different. So you can kind of compare and contrast, and you can also use that as a tool I'm going to talk about later, for your business. So the next thing you can write about in your journal is going to be thoughts around your goals. Okay. So this is super, super, super important. This is probably going to be the most important thing if you want to actually move forward at an accelerated rate and achieve your goals. So really what you want to be writing down here is your thoughts around your goals. So that could be anything ranging from, the progress you're making. So every day, just a quick little update on the progress that you're making, any problems that you're experiencing. So say you wake up one morning, maybe, you have some fitness goal, right? Oh, today, I noticed that I went up 5 pounds. What happened there? That's a problem, right? So analyze the problem. So it could be, again, any progress you've made, any problems you've had, or specifically, another great one is any breakthroughs that you've had. So as you move along, with your goals, anything that really helps you overcome a problem, like you've had a major breakthrough, definitely write that down. Definitely write that down, because that's going to be key. absolutely key if you ever want to help anybody else, is understanding those problems, those setbacks that you were having and any of the breakthroughs that you had. It's also really important to assess any doubts and fears you have. So as you're writing down your thoughts around your goals, what doubts do you have? What fears do you have around either achieving this goal or not achieving this goal or being stuck in this place forever, right? It's important to write down the doubts and fears you have because, again, that's going to give you a window into, your past self when, you're in the future. So it's really important to acknowledge the fact that you have fears and have doubts around these goals not working out, or if they do work out. It's really important that you write that all down and you don't just write down the good stuff, right? We don't want to just write down the good stuff because a lot of times, especially when it comes to if you have a personal brand or a business or something like that, it's really important to market to and understand the fears of the people that you're trying to help. The last thing I can recommend is write down, when you're having analysis paralysis, right? You're having analysis paralysis or you're having a hard time making a decision because you're comparing different things. Write down that sort of moment that you're having. Write down those thoughts that you're having. Get them on paper and sort of ask yourself, why am I having this? What is the dilemma? What is the true issue that I'm dealing with here, right? And that way, now you've written down your decision-making issues that you're having, analysis paralysis, all the different options that are available. You've written down your fears and your doubts, and you've also written down the problems that are blocking you from getting to where you want to go. And on top of that, any sort of breakthroughs you might have to solve that problem. So all of this is going to be really effective in the future if you turn around, you want to do coaching, you want to do a course, you want to create a product because you now have literally the full-on guide that you need to achieving that goal because you just went through it. You get it? So you just went through the goal. You wrote down all the fears and obstacles that you faced, what worked, what didn't work, your mindset, how you were feeling, and you've got a record of this in your journal, and you can now literally turn around and help someone else, whether that be this is your business or you just want to, help a family member or anything like that. It now serves as a guide for them, and it serves as a guide for yourself to help them. So it's really a beautiful thing, not only to help you get where you want to go in life and help you achieve the life you want to achieve and the goals that you want, but also to be able to turn around and help other people because you can better understand them because you actually recorded in real time what you were going through. Also really important to note that if you do a personal branding or some type of content creation, this is also really a key tool that you can use to create content and help people that way. And if you combine this, I'll actually link the other video I had. If you combine this with creating a commonplace book, you're going to be basically unstoppable. So I highly recommend that you journal. It's going to help you sort out your own mental issues, any unresolved emotions and traumas that you've had. It's going to help you see into your past as sort of a time capsule and a window that you can look back on. You can use it to help other people. You can use it to start a business. You can use it just to help yourself. There's so many different options, but if you actually do this on a daily basis, then you're going to be in a really good position. Now, last two things I would recommend would be, number one, make sure you write the date down, because when I first started journaling, I didn't write the date down. And so when I look back, I can't really remember what the day was, right? So write the date down or write something down in your daily story that's really memorable so you can kind of go back and really remember what that day was. So make sure you write down the date. And you're not going to be able to do this every day. I don't do it every day. Some days I skip, some days I don't. But try to do the 80-20 where 80% of the time you're doing it. The other 20% you don't really worry about. That would be my recommendation. Oh, right. I almost forgot. The last thing that I would recommend that you do, and that's really helped me, is gratitude. So after you're done doing the daily story and thoughts around your goals, write down, some people say do 5 things you're grateful for, 3 things, 4 things. I don't think it really matters. My preference is to write down 1 thing that I'm grateful for today and write down why I'm grateful for it. Because let's be honest, bro. If you're like me, then you're going to be trying to freaking come up with 5 things off the top of your head, rapid fire. You're not going to really be feeling that sense of gratitude. You're going to be like, oh, this is an assignment. This is a list I need to get done. Let me just come up with like 5 things. You're going to be like, my car, my apartment, the weather. You know what I mean? It's just like, just don't do that. Like, just for me, it's better to just go slower. Just do 1 thing that you're grateful for. Actually feel the feeling of gratitude for it. and really sort of write that down and write down why I'm feeling that and why I'm grateful for that. All right, so that's pretty much it, bro. Make sure that you get on this. Don't sleep on this. Journaling can literally change your life for the better if you use this system that I gave you here today and you implement it. Just go out and get yourself a journal. It could be any book. Just get your journal, a pen, and just literally start this today or tomorrow. And yeah, man, I hope it works for you. I hope that, wherever you're in, whatever position you're in right now, you can see an improvement if you start doing this and you start really taking action to improve your life, because everything gets so much better when you actually start taking action and taking accountability for your life. So if you need help, any more help with this, check the links in the description. Join us on Discord if you're looking for like-minded guys in there, and hopefully I'll see you there.